Hello, what's up, what's going on? It's your girl here, Vanessa, also known as Kenyan Queen, and welcome to another one of my videos. Today we're going to be talking about how to make a college list. This is going to be one of the first things that you want to do, and it'll make your life a whole bunch easier. Everything that I'm going to tell you is going to necessarily work for you 100%. If it works for you, great, wonderful, go ahead and use it. If it doesn't work for you, take it with a grain of salt. I'm an oncoming sophomore at the University of Pennsylvania, one of the 8 Ivy League schools in the United States of America, and also the best one. To make the process easier for you when you're applying to colleges, one of the best things that you can do is make a list of colleges that you want to apply to. This can help you to kind of narrow it down from just applying to college to applying to a few select schools that you really like, and it also can make you just a lot less anxious. It just made the process kind of smoother throughout. In order to do that, you want to make a list of schools. You want to include 3 different components: reach schools, target schools, and some safety schools. I'm going to explain what each of those are. A reach school is a school that has a very low acceptance rate. You're taking a risk by applying to it because chances are you might not get in. My reach schools were schools that I was like maybe just at or just below their target ACT, SAT scores, and I was maybe just at or just below their GPA requirements or GPA averages. For me, a lot of the schools that I considered risk were anything below about 20%. Target schools, those were schools that had anywhere for me for about like 20 to 50% acceptance rates. I had like a kind of maybe like a 50 to 25-75 chance of getting in. Schools that I was looking at that my GPA hit their average, my SAT, ACT scores were at their average. I wasn't completely guaranteed a spot, but like chances were good. Safety schools are schools that are probably about like 50% or above acceptance rates. You have a pretty good chance of making it in, and your GPA or SAT, ACT scores are probably above or at the top of their averages. There's schools that generally accept a lot of students. My target schools, reach schools, and safety schools can be very different from your target schools, reach schools, and safety schools. There are some schools that are going to be reach for anybody. Those are any schools that have acceptance rates below 20%. After that, it gets a little hazy because it really depends on what kind of grades you have, what kinds of classes you're taking, what kind of student you are, and what kind of schools you're looking at. If you're applying to all state schools, those are going to have different target reaches and safety schools. If you're applying to all community colleges, there's going to have different target reaches and safety schools. It all depends on how you are as a student and what kinds of schools you're looking at according to your GPA, your ACT, SAT scores, and what kind of school you really want. For me, I had about 10 schools in every group, so that gave me like 30 schools. So that was just way too many schools to have and way too many schools to apply to. Also, each school has an application fee, and those can run up to be 80 to 90 bucks per school. If you need to send your ACT or SAT scores to those schools, that's gonna cost you an extra 15 to 20 bucks per test. I'd be very weary about applying to any more than 15 schools because you start getting into that 1,000, 1,500 type of mark where it just gets expensive to apply. And not to mention, you're only gonna go to one college, hopefully. Okay, so I have all these schools I feel like are my target schools, my reach schools, and my safety schools. Now what? When you're deciding that you want to narrow down your list of schools, there's a few factors I think you should take into account. The first and the number one thing that I think that people forget is to talk to your parents about the cost. The schools will not all cost the same. For example, a state school might cost you about $20,000. A private school might cost you $70,000. These are discussions you need to have with whomever is going to be paying for your college tuition, because not everyone can afford these types of expensive colleges, and they might have preferences as to which college might fit your budget. I don't want to also say that budget influences everything, because some schools have amazing scholarship programs, some schools have need-based financial aid. For example, looking at the ticket price of my school, there was no way that my family could have been able to afford it, but because of financial aid from the University of Pennsylvania, my family was finally able to afford it. I have a lot of friends who are in the exact same boat and are now attending the school and are happy as ever. So don't let that dictate which schools you can apply to, but definitely keep it in mind. Another thing you should think about when you're applying to schools is think about the distance and the location of your school. So if you want to stay close to home, that's going to bring you a different range of schools than if you want to go completely as far away from home as possible. I was very big on applying to schools that were in cities. You need to figure out for yourself if you'd like a school in the city, if you'd like a school in a rural area, or maybe in a place that's more suburbia. It's also important to figure out what kind of size 4-year school that you want. I wanted a school where I knew enough people to feel comfortable and to feel at home, but not too many people to where I felt like everybody knew everything I was doing at every little second. I wanted a place that had a big enough community for which I could talk to different people from different places, but not feel confined to a group, but also not feel like there were so many people that I was just a number and not really a real student. I felt like that number was about 10,000. Anything below 10,000, give or take about 2,000 or 3,000 students, became a little too small for me, but I also felt like anything bigger than 15,000 was just a no-go. It wasn't something that was like cut in stone, but it was something that when it came to preferences and which schools I liked over others, it was definitely something that I thought about. You also want to look at the schools and see what kinds of programs they have. If you want to major in business, there might be certain schools that are better in business than others. If you want to major in nursing, there's certain schools that are better than others. So those are things to keep in mind when you're now deciding which schools you want to apply to, is which kind of program you want to go to and which schools are best at that, or which schools even have those programs to begin with. Another thing that was really important for me was to go to a school that was diverse and a school that had a lot of people who looked like me, who had shared experiences as I did, as being a Kenyan American and a Black person in the United States. I wanted to be in a place where there were lots of people who looked like me and understood my experiences, and that's something that I definitely took into account when I was looking into schools to apply to. All of this information is usually available online. You can usually just type it into Google and it'll show right up like what are the demographics of this school, how many students go to this school. There are also a few different websites you can look at to find this information. There are websites like the College Board that has a website called Big Future. It has a whole bunch of information on the schools that you might be looking at, from the size of the schools to how much it costs. Another website that I really like looking at for this type of information was College View. College View has a ton of the same type of information that I've just said before, and it was really helpful for me to determine and narrow down which schools kind of fit the things that I wanted. Both of these websites can kind of match you with schools that might fit the wants that you have. Every school looks nice on paper, but it's also important to visit. There were some schools that I visited that I realized when I was on campus, I don't actually like this school. Like on paper, when you read it online, like this is the best school ever, like of course I want to go here. And then I got to the school and I was like, actually, this is just not it. Don't let one experience be the determining factor as to whether or not you want to go to a school. But if you go there and it just doesn't feel right, maybe that's just not it. When I went to Penn, I had been dreaming about the school forever, but when I went on campus, there was just something that was just like, this is where I need to be. Like, this is where I want to be. This is where I want to spend the next 4 years. And I just felt comfortable there. In all of this process, I think it's very important to make sure that you're positive. Don't think that you're aiming too high. I'd been dreaming about going to the University of Pennsylvania for such a long time. And when I looked at the acceptance rate of 9%, I literally saw it there and I was like, there's no way I'm getting into this school. But you have to be hopeful. It's a difficult process. There's going to be a lot of things that will make you doubt yourself, but it's a holistic process. And I truly firmly believe that this is a holistic process. I don't think that they sit there and randomly pick kids from a hat, and nor do I think that they just pick kids based on numbers. There is a process to this, and they really do get to know you. There's gonna be 1 or 2 schools, depending on how you are as a student, that you're gonna be like, it's a reach, no one gets in. Apply, just apply, because the worst thing that can happen is you get rejected, but you already have a list of schools that you already like, so it's not gonna hurt. As long as you have that little 1% mustard seed of faith that you're gonna get into that school, try it. Hope. If you feel like there's maybe even just a 0.5% chance that they could accept you, try it. But once you apply, you better believe that there is a chance and that you could make it in. At the very least, just know that there are people who go to the school that you really want to go to. And knowing that, and knowing that at least somebody gets in, somebody has to go, somebody gets accepted. I mean, think about it. It's still a school. They still gotta make money. They have to accept somebody. That somebody could be you. Like, why not? Why couldn't it be you? Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm gonna have a whole bunch of videos talking about the college experience coming up, so if you'd like to see more of those, make sure to subscribe. Also, make sure to hit a thumbs up for this video so that I will know that you guys like more videos like this and that you enjoyed this content. And I would love to hear all about what you felt like you liked about this video in the comments below. As I said before, my name is Vanessa, also known as Kenyan Queen, and thank you for watching. TTYLXOX.